All right, kids, meet Sha'Carri Richarrson, the main character.
Who's going to Tokyo? We're about to find out. Women's 100 is underway. JV and Oliver, a fantastic start. She's putting the pressure on Richarrson. Here comes Sha'Carri. Richardson's going to Tokyo, 10:87.
This 21-year-old from Dallas, Texas won the women's 100-meter race last month at the U.S. Olympic Track and Field Trials in Eugene, Oregon, with a time of 10.86 seconds. Check her out, her speed, her style, the nails, the hair, the confidence. She may be this generation's FloJo. The Guardian said Sha'Carri is the most exciting sprinter since Usain Bolt. How fast she gets from the starting line to the finish line is much more impressive when you consider her life's journey. She has talked openly about her mental health struggles and suicidal ideation, along with an attempt in high school. Sha'Carri was abandoned by her mother, who she said died days before the Olympic trials. Yet, she's that girl. She knows it and she wants you to know it. Pay attention to her, you may learn something. After the performance you just watched from last month, we were preparing for Sha'Carri to not only take on Olympic champion Shelly Ann Fraser Price, but to be the first American woman to win gold in the 100 meters since Gail Devers. However, it was reported just yesterday that Sha'Carri's Olympic dreams and ours may be in jeopardy after she tested positive for a banned substance. Now, when I heard about this, a lot of questions went through my mind. She is trained by former sprinter Dennis Mitchell, who in 1998 was banned for 2 years after testing positive for testosterone. Mitchell also coaches Justin Gatlin, who was banned twice for doping. While speculation swirled, Sha'Carri sent out a tweet which simply said, "I am human." It was later confirmed that the banned substance was marijuana. Weed? Insert joke about her smoking the competition. Now, kids, don't do drugs. Wait, what? I end each episode the same way. I didn't even say we gonna be all right. This video ain't over. While weed is much more mainstream and acceptable now, just look at this ad featuring Martha Stewart and noted stoner Big Snoop, marijuana and its byproducts drive a multi-billion-dollar industry since the first few states started legalizing it just a few years ago. Around 39 states have made it legal in one way or another as of earlier this year, which includes Oregon, the state where Sha'Carri was at the time. But the history of this drug in the United States has been rolled up in racism and discrimination against people of color. The stigma of this drug has led to black people in some areas of the country being 3.5 times more likely to be arrested than our white counterparts, despite weed usage being relatively the same between the two races. So today we're going to talk about marijuana and what led to Sha'Carri being suspended, and we're going to begin with the year 1910, after the Mexican Revolution. Mexican immigrants flooded into the U.S., introducing recreational use of marijuana to American culture. The drug became associated with Mexicans, and the fear and prejudice about them became associated with marijuana. Anti-drug campaigners warned against the coming marijuana menace, and terrible crimes were attributed to marijuana and the Mexicans who used it. During the Great Depression, massive unemployment increased public resentment and fear of Mexican immigrants. Then came increased public and governmental concern, research which linked the use of marijuana with violence, crime, and other social deviant behaviors, primarily committed by racially inferior or underclass communities. And by 1931, 29 states had outlawed marijuana. 1930 brought the creation of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics with Harry J. Anslinger as the first commissioner of the FBN. And he remained in that position for 32 years. Lastly, there was the 1932 Uniform State Narcotic Act, and in 1936, there was a movie made called Reefer Madness. All of these things led to the stigma surrounding weed and the International Olympic Committee with the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibiting marijuana use whenever that was. Now, weed is prohibited during the end competition period, and that begins just before midnight on the day before a competition in which the athlete is scheduled to participate until the end of the competition and the sample collection process. Competing under these rules supersedes countries' and states' laws. Why? Well, according to the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, in science that I'll just let you read, cannabinoids modulate mood, movement, appetite, pain and sensation, memory, and perception. So athletes like Sha'Carri test positive for THC, the chemical that actually gets you high. It's worth noting that CBD is actually okay. For something to be added to the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list, it must meet 2 of the 3 inclusion criteria. It poses a health risk to athletes, It has the potential to enhance performance, and it violates the spirit of sport. Something marijuana use represents a violation of the spirit of sport, something ethics and morals. It says athletes who smoke cannabis in competition potentially endanger themselves and others because of increased risk-taking, slower reaction times, and poor executive functioning or decision-making. So what Sha'Carri Richarrson did was more dope than I thought, no pun intended. Add that to the fact that, an athlete stayed in tremendous shape while dealing with the munchies. This list will go on to say that based on studies and athlete interviews, cannabis is a performance-enhancing drug. If anyone's wondering, typically, THC is detectable for up to 90 days in hair, anywhere between 3 days to a month or longer in urine, depending on how often a person uses, and up to 48 hours in saliva, and up to 36 hours in blood. So during her appearance on the Today Show this morning, Sha'Carri Richarrson has accepted her 1-month suspension and responsibility. She said that her biological mother's death was triggering, and the news sent her into a state of emotional panic. While racism is the lingering aroma in all of this, I need to say that yes, someone even as great and as white as Michael Phelps was once also caught weeding and was suspended. But all of what I've said to this point should include that swimming caps for afro hair has been barred as well, saying elite athletes don't require caps that size. Multiple things can be true at the same time. I can understand why Sha'Carri did what she did under the circumstances. She apparently learned about her estranged mother's death during an interview. But what she did was stupid. She knew she was going to be tested. Whether or not someone agrees that weed should be legal in America and athletes shouldn't be tested for its consumption. She knew the test was coming. But the laws, the rules, and the stigma around marijuana in this country are so much more stupid. Sha'Carri will bounce back from this. This is her hero journey. I support her, and I'm a huge fan. There's no reason for this to be attached to her character. This country's antiquated views on weed should no longer be sticky. Her dreams won't go up in smoke. So we're going to be all right.